Hi, Shanta. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's so good to see you. I haven't seen you in a minute. I hope you've been doing well.
I have. I feel the same. I hope you're doing well as well.
I am. It's great to catch up and have a conversation about your transition. I think it'll be really helpful to people who are considering something similar, and it'll be inspirational as well. So let's go ahead and dive right into it.
Sounds good.
So, you made a significant career transition from PhD lab scientist to a health policy executive. What led you to make that switch?
So it wasn't a huge aha moment, I guess. It's something that kind of gradually happened. I'd say towards the end of my PhD program where I was like, I'm not exactly sure what I want to do, but I know I don't want to have to run the tenure track and try to get all this funding and be at the right institution and bring out the level of funding because where I went to grad school, the tradition is so I went to Yale for my PhD, and the tradition is for most science PhDs tend to either do like a Harvard postdoctoral fellowship, go to the NIH, and I really wasn't feeling like I wanted to do the academic track, so I ended up doing a non-traditional postdoc at which is a post PhD fellowship at the North Carolina State Laboratory of Public Health through the Centers for Disease Control and the Association of Public Health Laboratories. And that kind of was sort of like my initial, like, oh, maybe I could potentially do something different. And then it also helped too that I audited this health disparities class in my like second to last year of my PhD. That was taught by the leader of the COVID task force, Marcella Nunes Smith. And that was sort of like my first introduction to health disparities. And so going into my postdoc with that, and then swine flu happened, the big outbreak around swine flu, and then it became epidemic. And so seeing how public health plays an important role in making sure that we stay safe and healthy kind of was my jump into public health. It took a little bit more time. I waited 2 more years prior to transitioning, but once I switched and completed an MPH at Johns Hopkins, that was my big change into public health.
Got it. Very nice. Very impressive institutions as well. When you think about your previous skills and experiences, which would you say were the most transferable to help you really prepare for your new role in industry?
Well, I'd say for my PhD training, the skill set that I find using a lot, especially in the government affairs health policy space, is my ability to be a subject matter expert. So, unlike a lot of my colleagues who are poli sci major, have may worked on the Hill originally, or have had some sort of political leaning, whether it's been like on a campaign, I know the subject. So I'm very good at uncovering material, very good at kind of translating very hard concepts into more digestible pieces, which is very important for a politician. So a politician doesn't want to hear some long scientific jargon. They really want to just have the basic knowledge of what the overall issue is. And I'm really good at being able to digest science and make it easy to understand.
I know that sometimes people want to transition in careers, but they get stuck. I think sometimes people come out of college thinking, well, this is what I'm supposed to do for the rest of my life. But I think some of the younger generations are taking leaps and are a little bit more comfortable making those switches. When you're advising others about their own career transition and aspirations, what are some of the most common concerns they share with you?
So a lot of people, to your point, what you're saying, like people think sometimes that they can't switch or they don't see how they can switch or how their skills could be transferable. I was talking to one of my friends from the PhD space at Yale who's down here. She was a cancer biologist and she's thinking about making a pivot. And so we were talking about just how some skill sets that she has can be easily translated. And also there are opportunities if she wanted to pursue to do fellowships to get additional experience. So I think what I've seen from especially the people I've been talking to more and more about career transitions have been people who have been on like one track for such a long time that they don't understand how they can get off that track, how to explore that track without jeopardizing their current job, and then also just like how to have that confidence to make the leap and to make the change, knowing that they can always, if they don't feel comfortable, they can always go back.
Yeah, and you think about people with experience and who are seasoned and older who have this fear. You think about the kids in college or coming out of college who are, thinking about, what they do with their degree and listening to parents and other adults kind of really have them focus on what they're going to do for the rest of their life. I tell my nephews and nieces and my friends who have children not to focus or ask kids so much like, what do you want to be? What do you want to do? It's like, what do you want to do right now? And just have
Hmm.
a mindset that it can and it's okay to change. And I think it's 75% of students graduate with a different major than what they came
Yep.
in as a freshman. And I think that's wonderful. You go into college and you explore. Sometimes you don't even realize what's out there. So being flexible and pivoting is a lot of times sort of like the best move to make.
Yep.
So in addition to your role as senior VP, you also co-founded a public health consulting firm. Who are your target clients and what types of projects do you lead?
So 3 years ago, my fabulous boss and I started this organization called Continuum Health Group. And the lovely thing about that is when we started it, my colleague Elizabeth already had some clients that were lined up that were interested in working with us in a different kind of way. So with my main job, where I'm a senior vice president, the company is government affairs, which leans more towards, I mean, we do advocacy and work and things like that, but a lot of the work is around lobbying on behalf of clients. Continuum does not lobby. We do a lot more of those really feel good public health projects. And so we work with a range of organizations from associations to hospital systems to nonprofits to foundations to really help smaller organizations understand exactly how they can address health equity in their sphere.
Nice. Wow. So first of all, the fact that you have a manager that you want to spend time with, like outside of the 8 hours, says a lot about them. I think that's impressive, and that they also saw you as someone amazing enough to start and co-found a company with. That's fantastic.
Yes, they're amazing, and I think it's great too because I don't feel like the pressure of like I think what some people feel with a startup. Like if we succeed, we succeed. If we don't do as well, or we build slowly, it's not a hit to me or a hit to her because we have our day jobs, we have the job that we work on, so it allows us to have this as more of a passion project, and as we build, it just becomes very exciting. So I'm excited to see where Continuum's going to grow.
Nice. Would you say that you're more interested in scaling your consulting firm or advancing within your senior VP role?
If I do both, I mean, and I think it is nice that I have a CEO too who's very understanding. So I think if it just depends on the projects or the client opportunities that come to be. I love a lot of the portions of my senior VP role, and I love a lot of the portions of my managing director role. Each of them kind of blend to each other, use some of the same skill sets, some different skill sets. But if I could do them equally, I think I'd be happy.
Got it. And what would you say are the most rewarding parts of each of your senior VP role and your role as entrepreneur?
So for the senior VP role, the part of it that I really enjoy, honestly, right now, the most is some of my internal facing roles. So I do a lot of the management of the most junior folks in the office. So they are the ones who are right out of college. And so just having a chance to help someone get started on their professional journey has been very rewarding. And they also teach me a lot of new things. Like I have one that's teaching me about AI and like how to use like Chat GPT. And
Mhm.
so just keeping fresh on that. And then also with the senior VP role, it's just a matter of being more senior in the company and feeling like that my voice is heard and that my suggestions are, thought, considered and able to operationalize a lot more just because I'm more senior. And then on the managing director side, I think what is rewarding about that piece is more on the entrepreneurial side. So more of the ability to run more. So like more of like, submitting like the documents that we need to make sure that the business is sound. Everything from like submitting our woman-owned business certification, having more like control over the kind of work that we go after. And the management of the team on that side is, different because I'm managing more senior people on that side. So I think it's cool to be able to have a hand in being able to shape an organization. So being able to get that experience and learn how to run a company and learn like how to go after business in that space has been very interesting.
Nice. Wow, this has been great. Thank you, Shanta, so much. I think that this is going to be really helpful for people who are on the fence and, concerned about making a pivot. And you share a lot of examples of how your previous role, whatever it is, even if what you want to do next is totally different, you can still, take some of that skill set and experience and apply it to what you want to do next. So thank you for sharing your insight and experience today.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Thanks. Have a good one.